It's now 6 o'clock according to my phone, so I will call the Water and Wastewater Committee together.
Okay, what we have tonight is it's the purchase of an asphalt recycler trailer. Every year, the water department, like with leaks, new taps, whatever, we cut the streets, and we have to go back in there, pack it, cold patch it, which we $7,000 a year, just on cold patch plus the labor to do that. So this year, I had worked with Nolan and Frank about buying a trailer. I think this one will be like 4 ton per hour. We have a cut in Frank, and we can go back out the next day and replace it. So this is a source well bid, so it's the purchase price will be $99,715, and this is our budget. So.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions? So this is nothing that Bill Brock would sell, is that correct?
This company is Craftco, I think is the name of it. I think they're out of Arizona, I think.
Okay, just checking.
So, and this would be shipped, what Frank had told me, they could get it within a week. So,
Oh, wow.
Even with the potholes, it will help with that part.
Mhm.
They can actually put the cold patch that they buy, put it in this machine and actually repair it.
Okay, good deal. Do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Is there any other business? Then we are adjourned. Thank you.
It's 6:05, and I'd like to call this joint committee meeting between the Streets and Sanitation and the Safety Committee to order at this time. I believe to discuss this, we'll probably need Frank Southard and Sean Garrett both, if you wouldn't mind to come up, because I think we have some issues to discuss that affect both of your departments. So just to give everybody background on this, I know all the board members were here, but I'm not sure you guys were here at the last meeting. When Chief Mosley, we've had some complaints over there, I don't know if you know, Sean, but I know Frank knows about traffic. We've had speeders. We've just had a lot of complaints from residents in that area. And Chief Mosley said that they did a traffic study over there the week after Christmas, and in the 7 days, I believe there was in excess of 14,000 vehicles.
I think it was 9 days.
It was okay, 9 days, 14, I'm sorry, Chief, I didn't see you sitting right there. Well, you're, please come, please, I want to get everything right, so please, but 14,000 vehicles going through that residential street there is a lot. It's a lot, so obviously that's an item of concern, and someone brought up the issue to me about Walmart closing that back, I don't even know the name of the street, that back lot that comes off their auto center. Anderson Street, they've just arbitrarily closed off that entrance back there, which I know that was my preferred way to get in and out of there. And so I got the three things on the agenda is to discuss a commercial traffic closure, because we're being told that there's commercial vehicles on Cardinal Drive that probably should be using another entrance back there, and not semi-trucks, but large box trucks, and quite a few of them. And then to discuss a sidewalk from Sunset to the end of Cardinal Drive. And then another one to get community development to review the original plat for Walmart. And the reason for that is I want to be sure that they have the authority to just arbitrarily close off that entrance. You know, if it required, if it was permitted and required three locations of ingress and egress, and they close one of them off, then they're violating the terms that they were given a permit and a COI under. If they've got the authority to do that, then obviously there's nothing we can do about it. But I do feel that that's creating a hardship for people over on Cardinal Drive, that if we can alter that, it would help them. And so that's the purpose for the committee meeting right now. And I guess, and Mayor said last time we had to have it together because it affected safety as well as public works. And then I wanted to involve community development in it, because you've got to go back and review the permits that we discussed earlier that were in 1996. So that's 28 years worth of records that we're going to have to dig through to find it.
It'll take a little bit.
Yeah, I'm sure it will. And the information that drove all this, the complaints started it, and then the information that Chief Mosley gave us at the last meeting, I think took a lot of us, I know it did me, by surprise that there was that much traffic there. So that's the purpose of the meeting, and that's the background of the meeting. And so we can start it anywhere. Anybody on the board of the committees likes to start. I just wanted to kind of give the background for what got us here. Does anybody have any preference on which order that we take those three items?
Well, it looks
Yeah,
like
Mr.
A
May?
and C go together to me.
I feel like the police department has some more information on that traffic count that would be important to know.
Okay, great, thank you.
Okay. Of course, we've currently got a box put back out to get a count of how many is from Park Avenue to Cardinal that just hits that way to the Walmart.
That's that three-way stop?
Yeah, from there,
Okay.
and we're just gonna gather that information to see who's actually going to Walmart and how many.
Okay,
And so we just put that out yesterday, so we'll have it up for a week or so. And whenever I look back, of course, it was about 14,000 or so people that, the time of year when we did that. So 9 days, that's averaging about 1,587 vehicles coming down that whole street. But TDOT, you can go to their site, and they did a study in '23, just recent, just on Sunset Drive, coming off the the bypass just going straight and I'm not turning down there. And there's 2,400 cars going just that way. It's people, a lot of people are cutting through. You know, they cut through to go to, you know, over to the Milner, or sometimes they go down to, they'll cut through to Park Avenue, you know, go out that way to West End. You know, so you got a lot of traffic, and so that's probably a pretty accurate number. You know, it may be more because of the time of year it was, but, you know, with T-Dot's count, you know, there was like 2,400 just on Sunset Drive. 17,000 and 16,000 on the bypass.
Okay, so we're 14, you're 2,400, so in the same amount of,
2,400 was one day.
2,400 was one day, so,
This is about 1,580 something.
so that's two-thirds, that's approximately two-thirds of the traffic that turn onto Sunset Drive go down Cardinal. We don't know if they turn right at the
Well,
park.
no, it was like past that, so they were going past,
It-
they're
the-
going on down.
The count was back,
Yeah. Yeah, they're just going through that residential area. They're just all cutting.
So they're
through
not going to Walmart, is what you're saying?
There's, yeah, so I'm saying there's like.
You don't
20
know who's going where?
You got 2,400, I think that was on the count where it's set, that's going down Sunset. Now, the ones we got coming down, the other was like 14, you know, of course, in the 9 days, you got 1,500 or so cars coming down that way. They could be turning, Park Avenue, going that way. They might not necessarily have been going all the way to Walmart. So that's why we've got another box. We've set it up just to see just how many is going from the three-way stop to Walmart.
So we're
Okay,
gonna
that's smart.
know how many are.
yeah, that's smart, that's good. And that, you'll keep that there for the same,
We're gonna have it a week.
you're gonna have it 7 days? Okay, well, then great, thank you for that. And that will tell us exactly what traffic count Walmart's contributing to that total load. Thank you very much. Anybody else have any questions on that count? I appreciate y'all doing that. But, Mr. Garrett, I would, as long as no other members of any of the two committees have an objection, I would like you to look at that, just to be sure that they can't, that if they can do that, then that's fine. But, I mean, I would think that we might have problems with other businesses in this city if they just arbitrarily made a closure like that. And I don't want the size of the establishment to have anything to do with whether they're able to do it or not. So if you wouldn't mind, please review that.
Yep.
Thank you. And then Frank, you know, we spoke about this, and that's what led to this committee meeting about getting a sidewalk for pedestrians, because that was specifically one of the concerns over there. So what do the committee members think about accelerating a sidewalk from, I guess it would be from Sunset to, is that Hillis Street? From Sunset right there, so it'd go from Sunset to the three-way stop, and then from the three-way stop down to Hillis Street right there. Because they were talking, there's older people in the neighborhood that are walking, cars are moving by, and then there was just a large amount of traffic coming through that. And I asked somebody, or maybe somebody made the suggestion that a sidewalk would be good there, because there is a lot of pedestrian traffic that I see, because that's the way I go home most of the time, coming from the apartments over there on the back side of McMinnville Funeral Home. They cross the bypass right there, and then they foot traffic right down Cardinal Drive. So I believe there is a lot of foot traffic there. And I just wanted to know what the committee's thought about, you know, trying to accelerate a sidewalk there for the pedestrian safety.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, I think so too.
That would be great. So in this situation, it would be Frank, would that impact of that be over $10,000? Actually, what are our new committee limits? Didn't we raise them?
Yeah, so, I can approve anything up to 10,000, above 20,000 is required to go to the board.
And so
That's right,
I-
so.
I frankly don't, that's a city, I frankly don't see any way that would be $20,000 to do that down through there. Now, there will be,
I could figure it out.
would you mind?
Yeah.
And then let us know. And I do believe that I have heard from some property owners over there about this idea, that they're under the mistaken impression that their property line goes to the edge of the street. I've educated them that the city has a right of way, And so maybe we might need to delineate that right-of-way through there visually for whichever side we decide to put that on is best. We might want to delineate that and give them time to comment, and make sure everybody's okay with it. Y'all agree with that?
Yes.
That,
I would have to, put storm drains in part of it to put a sidewalk in.
okay, yeah, well, that kind of area needs some help anyway, really. It really does.
You know, I've come up with this, I don't know, y'all want, I can give y'all one. I've got these, they're like a more, not as aggressive as a speed bump. To go across the street,
Thank you.
they're like $2,000. And really, to be effective, you'd have to have two of them. I would think one in the middle of, between Sunset and Park Avenue, and one between Park Avenue and Hillis Street, to be effective. Checked on rumble strips, they paint them down or use mastic, put them down. They are about $2,600 to do two of them, if y'all want to go that way.
Well, I guess it doesn't really matter, it doesn't really matter which stretch of Cardinal Drive the traffic, why it's coming through there, it's still coming through there. You know, so I would believe, I would agree with you. I don't know what the other committee members think, that we would need one, at least one per section, maybe that would.
Yeah.
Maybe that
I
would,
mean, I figured put it in the middle and maybe they won't get much speed up before they get to it.
and then there's a stop sign.
And there's a stop sign and they'll do the same on the other part.
I never have been a big fan of these. I'd almost be in favor of seeing what we find out about the entrance on the other side and approving the sidewalk, and then maybe seeing where that gets us. We don't know, I mean, do we have any results of speeding when y'all did that survey?
Mark, there wasn't any.
There wasn't major, it wasn't major.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
It's just you got a lot of traffic.
And that's, I believe that was the comment that I made at that time, that maybe it feels a little more, invasive than it is because of the amount of traffic. And if only 1 in 10 cars speed, that's still 140 of them a day. You know what I mean? That feels like a lot, and and it was probably about that much.
It wasn't.
There was 7,787 vehicles that came through one way, and the average speed was 29 miles per hour, because 85% of the vehicles that came through was 29 miles per hour. The average speed was 25, and those going 10 to 15 over the posted speed limit was 12.
Total of 12 out of 14.
12 vehicles out of 7,000.
Oh, okay, well then, okay,
And one vehicle that was going 15 over the speed limit.
that's probably my wife.
That could have been an emergency vehicle.
Yeah.
And it was the same results the other way.
Okay, well, then I'm with you, Steve.
I'm with Steve on this. I mean, we've put like speed bumps and stuff down before, and a month later have taken back up because the vehicles coming by, they'll hit them at night and wake people up. So I'm not a big fan of these,
Okay.
but I thought
No,
I'd share it just to give y'all an idea on how much it would cost to do it.
Well, I appreciate you doing that, but I do like Steve's approach of approving the sidewalk, getting the count, and then seeing where we get from that, coupled with the research that Mr. Garrett would do on their arbitrary closure of that back means of access and egress.
And I have a quick question too. As far as the commercial traffic goes, are they supposed to come in? Where are they supposed to come in?
The
On the side?
North Chancery side,
North Chancery.
they're supposed to come in down to the bank.
Okay.
We could put no trucks signs up on Cardinal,
Yeah.
right at the first of Cardinal.
Let's put some bollards up there. How about that?
Those concrete bells.
Yeah.
But, I mean, we can put them up, but that don't stop them. We got it up. There's probably 8 from here to the bypass.
A new station
Trailer
alert has
truck
arrived.
all the time down there. So,
Well, what would
that's
be,
not saying it's gonna stop them, but it might. I don't understand why any commercial traffic would be down there besides like lawn care or something like that, because, or a delivery truck.
well, they're saying they're box trucks.
Yeah.
So LTL freight carriers, you know, and box trucks is what, like large Penske trucks.
Coming to the houses that live there.
Maybe,
Because I couldn't imagine them coming in that way, getting in Walmart's parking lot,
I'm totally with you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
just
the turn.
because of the turns.
But we don't want them
So,
on Anderson Street either, you know, coming in. If they reopen that, it's gonna be those 2 streets we don't want. If they reopen their back parking lot too, they closed it probably because of the zooming traffic through there.
I think they
Me
had
too.
a issue too with some people during burnouts and things in that parking lot.
Yeah, and just parking, people are parking there like late at
just
night.
people out front.
Yeah, yeah.
We got room.
But yeah, we wanna watch Anderson Street too, you know.
Yep. So what is the committee's decision here? Do we want to, let's just take it, do we want to try to put any type of commercial traffic restriction on Cardinal Drive off of Sunset?
Oh, I'm not on the committee, but wouldn't we wait to see what that says?
Well, I think I don't think that matters. I think that's to me, that seems like an issue that would be easy to resolve. We can put a sign there, and if we have an officer doing patrol that sees a commercial vehicle through, they can stop them and, you know, over time, maybe dissuade some of it. Or isn't there, I've seen in different cities, like, local deliveries only something, I've seen verbiage, because, you know, Walmart could be considered local, you know, so I've seen some different, especially in Brentwood. I've seen some stuff down there like that. Maybe we need to research that a little bit more, to nail that down about what we can do. So I propose that we table that, until we get a little bit more information. What do the members of the committee think about that one?
I think so.
I think
Everybody?
we can wait on that one, but I think
Okay.
the sidewalk would be the first place to start.
I would agree. So I would entertain a motion to approve or request to approve a sidewalk from Cardinal Drive to the intersection of Cardinal and Hillis Street.
I'll make that motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Wonder which side it goes on. Is that just something to look at and decide?
Yeah, that's something you just have to look at and decide, see what room we got.
And which way the thing
I'd
slopes,
rather
since you
be
gotta
on
have
the
storm
left
drains.
side going down.
Probably gonna be on the right side.
If you're heading toward Boulevard on the right,
Yeah.
the other side has quite a few driveways with culverts in it.
Well, they do that and the fence right
Yeah.
there on the corner.
Okay.
So it might have to be on the right side, but
But do you mind going out there, and just putting up some, even if they're just some wire flags down through there? That way we can get some input. And Mr. Ming, would you mind contacting the residents along there on both sides to get any input from them? I don't want anybody feeling like we're shoving this down their throat. We're responding to the request of the citizens right there. And we want to make sure that everybody's on the same page and nobody thinks we're taking property.
I'll do it.
Thank you. And then, Mr. Garrett, you'll do that. Yeah, thank you very much for looking at that. Does everybody on the committees agree with Mr. Garrett reviewing that Walmart
Yes.
Yes.
permit
Yes.
for that over there? Okay, so everybody's in agreement with that. And well, do we have to have a motion for that?
It's
Since
just
it's just
fact finding.
research,
It's just
fact
fact
finding, no
finding.
problem. So, okay, thank y'all very much. And I don't believe there's any other business in front of this joint meeting. So we'll stand adjourned. Thank y'all very much. I appreciate it. And now, since I went 4 minutes over, we have to call the Safety Committee. Chief, now you get to get back up. We've got to call the Safety Committee to order right now to discuss some purchases the police department would like. Sorry, Chief, I didn't mean to make you go back there and sit down and get back up. So I understand this, this purchase here helps you unlock cell phones a little easier.
Yes, it's called the Cell Right System. It's going to be funded by a grant, which we included in the budget. And it's a mobile forensic unlock extraction, decoding, analysis tool to obtain data, from cell phones, any kind of mobile devices. And it's for the criminal investigation unit. They use that, in like overdose cases or, drug cases or different crimes that dump in the phones. We typically have to take our phones, or the ones that we get somewhere else and have them dumped and, trying to get other departments to do it for us, and it's just real time consuming. So we were able to get this paid for by grant.
Okay. All right, that'll work. That'll work. Does any member of the safety committee have a question about this purchase?
How much is it?
It's $30,000.
It is $30,269.
And that's, we pay, then they pay us back, correct?
At
100%?
Yes.
That's a heck of a deal. So if no one has any questions for the chief on this, I would entertain a motion to recommend this to the board.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Ayes have it. Thank you, chief. Now, for the next
The
agenda
next
item.
thing, the 3 Ford Police Interceptor vehicles, they will replace one vehicle that was just totaled recently and 2 other vehicles that were 10 years, older than 10 years. Of course, they were budgeted in the capital budget. The insurance was gonna be paying for one, but not total. It won't pay for the whole thing. So there's like a $12,027 difference. The vehicle's 2 years old. Hit a couple of deers, so that's how that happened. They're, of course, on the statewide contract, and total cost is $136,116
Are they available in stock, or we've got to order?
order.
And lead time? You don't know? Okay. Well, I don't think, and we do have, you said the two are budgeted.
We actually have 3 budgeted, and of course, this other one that was wrecked, we want to get that replaced, which the insurance is gonna pay, most of it. It's paying for, to recoup other than $12,000, which we should be able to cover that.
Do you intend to place the order for the next one before the end of this budget year?
Yes.
Okay, just not at this
Well,
time?
we're planning on ordering them, so we got that okay.
Okay, well, it just says the quantity of 3 here.
Yeah, I've got,
Is there a supplemental that I'm
there's
missing?
another vehicle
Next item.
on the next side.
Sorry, the Durango.
The Durango.
Sorry, y'all.
Yeah.
I apologize, I didn't know it was a Durango that was hit, got it, okay. All right, does anyone have any questions on the committee for Chief Mosley about this purchase? If no questions, then I would accept, I would be willing to entertain a motion to approve this and recommend it to the full board.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. All right, thank you, Chief. And then the next item is that one that I
It's the-
went stupid on.
It's the Durango, it's on a statewide contract, it was budgeted. It's gonna replace an older one that will be moving over into the detectives division, because they have one that's really, really old that needs to be replaced, and so we'll use it, and we still, it's already got upfitted, and it's already upfitted and all that, so we'll have the Durango replace, it's more of an administration vehicle.
Okay, all right, I see what you're saying. Okay. This one in stock, evidently?
It's been ordered.
It's been ordered, okay. All right. Well, does anyone have any questions on the committee for Chief Mosley about this purchase? If no questions, I'd entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Then we got one more. One more. And this is something that I noticed, and I put this on here myself because I was behind a sheriff's vehicle the other day, and I noticed that they had a God We Trust on the rear bumpers. And then I looked at ours and we don't have that. And I don't understand why we don't have that. And so, I wanted this on the agenda because I wanted the safety committee to consider having all of our fire and police vehicles have that slogan, on their vehicle. You know, this country was founded on the belief in God, and our rights are God-given. And, I just don't really understand why we wouldn't want that on our, public safety vehicles. And I'd just like to know what the members of the committee thought about that.
I'm certainly in favor of it. I mean, it's our national motto, and I don't see a reason not to at all. I'm totally good with that.
Thank
I
you.
agree as well.
Thank you very much. So, I'd entertain a motion to approve the slogan, "In God We Trust," on all of our marked public safety vehicles, fire and police.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you very much, Chief. And I believe that is all we have on this.
Okay.
Thank you all very much. This committee is adjourned.
It is 6:31, and we'll call the Parks and Recreation Committee meeting to order. Justin Scott will speak to the discussion of bids for tennis courts, asphalt resurfacing.
Good evening. So we had 3 bidders that came in on the, I call it renovation of courts 1 and 2. We talked about how bad those were. So we received 3 bids: Kane Industrial, Tinsley Asphalt, and Champion Court Construction. We've budgeted $175,000 for these tennis courts. I did have them bid several options because I just wanted to know some numbers. I wanted to know what we would be looking at if we did just the asphalt courts. This is gravel surfacing, and the asphalt does not include fencing. So, that I was gonna bid out separately. So I had them bid strictly on that. I had them also give me a price on doing 3 pickleball courts where the old volleyball court is now, and then just doing 1 pickleball court. So you can see the bids that we received. After reviewing those, and talking with Mr. Ming, and talking with Markel, and talking with the staff, and just looking at it, I didn't make a recommendation because I wanted to discuss it with you all tonight, and let you see those numbers. But Tinsley Asphalt obviously came in with, in my opinion, the best bid, and they meet all the requirements. With all that being said, I had looked at if what we focused on was just tennis courts. So my recommendation to you all, to the committee, would be to do the 2 tennis courts. And of course, I've got to put the fence specs out and get the fencing done. We did the fencing back in 2018, 2019. It was around $16,000. I know that price has gone up. As well as courts 3 and 4 are also, they need to be resurfaced or recoated at this point. About every 5 years, you're supposed to recoat them. This would all fall under our 175 that we have budgeted. It would be under budget. And we would just resod that area that we're gonna have to tear up where the volleyball court is. We would just lay some grass down there.
Well, isn't this, I mean, I heard some news that the school is going to join in.
Yeah, glad you said something. So, I reached out to Grant Swallows a couple months ago and asked if they had any plans of incorporating any tennis courts at the high school. He has a master plan, but he said he didn't know if it would come to fruition. They were looking at 6 tennis courts. So Mr. Ming and I had reached out to him last week via email, shared some information. He took it to his board last night. And I got a text this morning to myself and Mr. Ming, said, "Good morning, the board approved $75,000 to partner with the city on the tennis court project." So that's almost half of what we have for the tennis court project. So we really appreciate the county and Dr. Swallows doing that. They do use those courts from January to April, and they use them exclusively. We give them to them 4 days a week. We make sure they're ready, lights are on. If they need to use our indoor court during during season matches, we try to accommodate them there. So we really greatly appreciate that.
But they pay rent, is that correct?
They do. They pay us a fee to play matches there, each home match. Now, practices are free, unless they come inside. If they come inside, they do pay a user fee, a student user fee.
And that, I'm assuming that will stop too, once they build the tennis courts. Or they're not gonna rent them if they pay half.
Yeah, and I'm sure that question's gonna come up.
Do you have a ballpark on what the fencing on the fencing and then resurfacing the courts 3 and 4?
Yes, so I found out today from one of the guys that surfaces, that is in the surface bid with Tinsley, $14,300 to surface court 3 and 4. The fencing, I told Mr. Main, I'm looking at $16,000 back in 2018. We could be talking $25,000 to $30,000 for the fencing. We're doing a 10-foot fence with service gates, but I won't know that true number until I get those bids in.
So if it's 25, that'd be 40 for both, plus about, let's just say you went all the way and did 3 pickleball courts, that's about 200. So you'd have like 240 less 75, which is what?
165.
Which is a little less than what we budgeted.
Yeah.
I wanted options because I wanted to be able to come to you all and kind of show you those numbers. We obviously would like to have pickleball courts, but we also, I know we were just talking tennis courts, so that's what I wanted to bring you guys to.
Volleyball's over, I mean, it's not.
Yeah, we don't have people using it, that court, and again, we're gonna have to tear it up just to get in there. Otherwise, we're gonna have to gain access from West Elementary, and they would allow us that, but I don't wanna do damage to their property.
I do have one question on that. What about lighting over there? How, if we try to extend this and use the county's generous donation there to be able to go full tilt here, those pickleball courts would need to be lighted as well as surfaced, or they'd be moot after dark.
Yeah, they would, and we already have one pole there, and we did discuss that. Another thing that we've talked about is with the improvements to the courts, do we go to LEDs on our existing poles? We still have those old lights where you flip them on and they have to
Sodium
warm
vapor.
up to get, yeah.
Sodium vapor.
Power outage, we've had that at tournaments, power outage, they cut off, they gotta warm back up. With LEDs, for instance, so we've talked about that as well, but.
Well, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, is there, so that volleyball court is right there, beside the pavilion?
Yep.
Is there room for 3 pickleball courts?
They were gonna go north to south, they were gonna go parallel to the parking lot,
Okay.
and we were gonna turn them. So we have measured that, and it's in the image.
Oh.
We measured that, and we could,
I said it on your,
Aha. Okay, I didn't see it.
it's marked as 50.
Plus we'll have fencing there too.
yeah, absolutely. And it falls off really bad there, so we would have to build a wall, retaining wall, build that up, fence all around it, a 6-foot fence around it. And then we'd also have to change our walkway. So where our brick walkway is now would have to move up near the pool side, and we would have to adjust that too. So there's a lot that would have to go into that. It's doable, but.
But at this point in time, we don't have to make that grand decision right now. We can strictly make a decision on resurfacing the courts 3 and 4, rebuilding court 1 and 2, and putting the fence around 1 and 2, full stop, and then come back to the issue and address that separately and still capture it under the single capital expense budget item that we have there, correct?
Yep. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, it'll be well under budget, yeah.
Well, I would make a motion that we do reconstruct courts 1 and 2, resurface 3 and 4, and refence 1 and 2, and then we stop at that point in time, count our pennies, and then make use, come back and revisit it and make use, or the best use of our funds that we have available that have already been allocated at that point in time.
Okay, quick question. Wait a minute, I'm sorry, I'm getting out of order. Is there a second? Because I want my question answered before. So do we have enough, I know there's a lot of pickleballers, do we have enough to support 3 courts?
I think our goal, if we were gonna set up 3 courts, was that we potentially could do some outdoor tournaments. Right now, we did an indoor tournament this year. We did 3 courts on one side of our netting, and we did 2 on the other. So we had 5 courts. Long-term, we're also looking at Rocket Park, including 2 more courts down there in that master plan. So we potentially could have 5 locations, 5 courts in 2 locations, which pickleballers say they don't mind to travel to and
Pickleballers
from.
are growing in number.
Yeah, so that's the whole plan.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we could support that, they would
Yes.
be played on it.
Yes, ma'am.
That's great. Okay, I will second that motion that we do the 2 new tennis courts, resurface the higher ones, and then come back. And then we'll have numbers for fencing and things like that.
Absolutely, yep, we will.
To look at.
And so my motion should be, include language that we would recommend it to the full board. Sorry.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to recommend to the full board. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other business for Parks and Rec? If not, meeting adjourned.
Okay, hold on, I'm going to find out where I am. Okay, I'll call the joint building and grounds, Parks and Rec meeting to order. The first item on the agenda is to request the implementation of a mobile food vendor permit throughout the city, and Sean's going to explain it to us.
So with this, currently, we don't have any regulation regarding mobile food units. And with that comes with, we cannot require them to get a business license. And so if they are based out of Manchester, anytime they're here, their taxation goes to Manchester, Cookville, or wherever they're out located from, and not here to the city. So we're missing out on that, and then this would also give us reasonable regulations to make sure we can verify that fire safety is taken care of, placement's good, and there's not going to be any issues with them. And the other part is, in talk with Justin, we've had some requests for a few of them to be able to set up at certain parks, at certain areas, and so that's the other part of this, and we'll go with that.
Like where are you talking about?
Yeah, so we basically looked at our parks. We looked at Riverfront Park, Pepper Branch Park. We didn't do Pistol Park, but we did the Milner Center. And we kind of looked at, City of Cookville does this, has done this. Parks and Leisure, yes. So, and they have designated spots. So we went as far as looking at those certain locations where we would have signage that says reserved for mobile food unit or whatever. But they would be able to go through Sean, and then coordinate with us, and we would make sure that we were aware that they were there, so we could share with our parks officers and things like that. But, we've had the need for them to be at Pepper Branch on a kayak on Saturday, or, something like that. We just wanted to make sure that we did it properly.
So we talked about too, like the disposal of the garbage and things like that. Is that part of this?
Yeah, so this would, they have to have refuge containers and take care of that, make sure that they're not dumping in the sewers, we don't have any problems with that, proper disposal of waste, all those general type of things that would relate to the safety and health.
And when we talked, if you could tell us about, is this gonna be a difficult process, or is this gonna be easy,
No, it'd be a quick and
time-consuming,
simple process
expensive?
for them to come through.
Do you think
Take
this is
minimal
gonna
time.
deter
Yeah.
out-of-town vendors from coming back here?
I don't believe that it will. A lot of other cities around us have it, and
Okay.
there's still no one there.
You're talking like,
And if
what,
you got
dollars for the permit, what are
It's
you
like
talking about?
$15.
So we did temporary at, let me just check, make sure it's right. And these are just numbers that were put, 30-day temporary was $50, the annual 150, but obviously those are adjustable. They're
That's
not
next.
very high price. That's much lower than Cookville has currently and others. And again, and before this came to the full board, I'd reach out to the mobile food vendors that we have that are commonly here and say, hey, this is what we're doing, this is what we're looking at, and this is why.
Well, that's $12 and something a month, but I do have one question about it. So, and I noticed how you had proposed locations on, city property. One of the concerns that I would have, if I was in that business, what I would do is I would try to locate where there's a mass of people. Okay, well, we have groups within the city and the county that use concession stands to raise funds for their organizations. And if we're not careful, we're gonna be taken away from those groups that have historically gained funds through use of the concession stands by letting some of these mobile food vendors set up. So I wouldn't want to cause an unintended consequence of hurting our residents and their funding mechanisms that they've relied on forever by allowing this on some of our property. So I'd like for us to think that through pretty good, and make sure that when we're allowing it and where we're allowing it, we're not gonna cut our nose off to spite our face, so to speak. That would be something that I would think we need to really think about right there. I have no problem with anything that you're proposing. The only thing that I wanna make sure of is that if we say that they can be here, here, and here, that there's some caveats around when they can be here, here, and here. So not around travel baseball tournaments, not around, you know what I'm saying, that the mass events.
I would assume we would keep that first in mind.
Well, I just want to get it on the record
I do.
that it's a
I agree.
concern and that we want to be sure that we craft any ordinance that we have around that there are carve-outs where we don't hurt our own people.
My first thought when we put this together was I didn't want anything between Memorial Day and Labor Day at the Milner Center because we have the pool open, we sell concessions, we've got ball games at night. We don't want a mobile food unit over there competing with what we're doing. So that was my first thing when I spoke to Sean about it.
Yeah, we don't want to hurt ourselves.
That's how we got Appendix 1, if you'll see.
Yeah, part of that, like the Milner Center, we do have that set up. We did a little bit for the farmer's market as well. That when the markets go, when it'd be limited.
So that'd cover Pistol Park, that'd cover anything that was going on at Rocket Park. It would, so I don't think we could just limit it to the Milner Center. I mean, would that be reasonable?
I'm sorry, what did you say?
So I understand the carve-out for the Milner Center because of what we just talked about. But let's say, for instance, they wanted to come to Pistol Park and set one up over there.
Well, that would undermine us as well. I mean.
Well, but the exception, the carve-out was only at the Milner.
Oh, well, I think
And
we
that,
should
and
think
that's
about
what,
that.
right,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying, that we shouldn't just limit the carve-out to the Milner.
Absolutely, and I didn't even put a location at Pistol. Because
Well-
to your point, because I didn't want them to compete with our
No, you
concessions.
wouldn't
Well,
want them there.
I'd want it, I just want us to think about.
Sure.
I don't want somebody, well, you didn't say we couldn't do it over here, and the next thing they're over there. I mean, I want to think ahead of our skis a little bit here, and make sure that we don't leave anything ambiguous about it.
But like some of these 5Ks and things like that, I mean, that's a really good idea for the food trucks, to be where they're coming and going a lot of them take off from the Milner Center, come back, color run, all this stuff, so.
Well, that would be maybe by special permit.
That'd be special event.
And so if we have a special event, then they can get a special event permit, and then because then we have no competition, because 5Ks, ultras, whatever's going on over there, we don't have any problems with that.
And we'll check on that and revise as necessary before it comes to the board.
Okay, I think it's a great idea. Thank you for doing it.
Are there any, just out of curiosity, on the subject of food trucks, are there different restrictions or requirements for downtown?
For
food
downtown, we
trucks?
generally don't set up unless it's special events, and that's part of the special event approval. But outside of that, we generally don't have any that are coming and setting up that downtown.
If it's on private property, can they? Someone asked me about that.
A food truck on private property downtown?
According to business license, we can't tell them that if they're on somebody else's property, they have to ask that property owner, can they be there?
Yeah, it would be with approval of
Right,
the
it's gotta
property
be from
owner.
that, yeah.
I didn't know if there was any different.
We don't have anything. And on the private property, we're setting it just for commercial zone districts, so not set up within residential. And then keeping distance from any property line where commercial would, but residential just wouldn't be issues with that.
Do I have a motion?
So
That we
moved.
approve this
So moved.
new permit?
I'll second it.
I have a motion and second. Motion carries. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
It's done by ordinance or resolution.
Is there any other business to come before this committee? Hearing none, this meeting is adjourned.
It's 6:50. We will open a public hearing to hear comments on a zoning change for property located at 105 Rosewood Lane from R1 low density to R6 smart growth. If you wish to address the board on this matter, please step to the podium and state your name for the record. Hearing no comments, we will consider this public hearing closed.
I'm not freezing.
That's funny.
I walk in church, go straight to the classroom. Everything's up.
Usually it's hot,
It is 7 o'clock. We will call to order this regularly scheduled meeting of the McMinnville City Board of Mayor and Alderman. The first item on the agenda is roll call.
Sally Brock.
Present.
Deidre Dunlap.
Present.
Stacy Harvey.
Present.
Steve Harvey.
Here.
Rachel Kirby.
Here.
Carrie Morton.
Here.
Mayor Chastain.
Present. The next item on the agenda is consideration of minutes. Each member should have received those in their agenda packet. If there are no requests for additions, corrections, or deletions, I'll entertain a motion to dispense with the reading and approve them as read.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Deidre Dunlap,
Second.
second by Ms. Carrie Morton. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Item 3 is recognition of visitors. Item 3A is Mr. Bill Zeckman on behalf of Meals on Wheels.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, and greetings to honorable members of the Board of Mayor and Aldermen. I have a limited number of copies of notes, so let me give this to the recorder, so you'll have this. Make note-taking a lot easier.
Thank
Okay?
you.
We'll want to apply these. Well, again, thank you very much for allowing me just a few minutes here this evening. As you know, as you said, Mayor, I represent the Board of Directors for Meals on Wheels. Officially, Warren County Home Delivery Meals. It's been operating in this community since 1977. And the last time we were here, we were sort of in a begging mode. We came up asking for funding for Meals on Wheels. The decision by the board went in another direction, and we just want to say we respect that. We're not protesting, we're not arguing. You have the very solemn duty to be stewards of the taxpayers' money, and you have the duty to do your best in making sure those tax dollars serve the best interests of the community in the most cost-efficient way. So we're fine with the decision, but the big point is, we've been up here asking for money year after year on behalf of our clients, and we've never said thank you. So I'm here this evening to put it on record that we thank you for your past support. We don't minimize that, we don't dismiss that. It has been essential. So from Meals on Wheels and all of our clients, we're saying thank you. That's something that I think that we don't do enough, is to show appreciation. And if there is a really soul-searching, penetrating message in the New Testament, it's that episode where Jesus healed the 10 lepers. And if you want to know how many people are grateful, just refer to that lesson. How many came back, Mayor? One. One came back to say thank you. After that miracle that changed those lives dramatically for the better. So we're here just to say thank you. I'd also like to say thank you to our friends at the Back to the Script fundraiser. That has been important. They've decided, and here again we respect and honor that decision to go in a different direction, but that doesn't minimize the fact that over the years since 2013, Back to the Script has donated over $375,000 to Meals on Wheels. So to all the organizers and donors to Back to the Script, we're saying thank you. The county commission also supports Meals on Wheels. We appreciate that, and we just want to put that on record. To give you a real quick update on our financial condition for fiscal year 23-24, these are just major expenses. For food, $128,500. For labor, $144,600. This is basically the kitchen staff. And for utilities and other expenses, payroll taxes, things of that sort, almost $18,000. Those are expenses. Revenues, for that same fiscal year, about 88,000 from government bodies, almost 112,000 from donations and grants, including, and I want to draw a big bold line under this, Bridgestone, $15,000. They were one of the major business contributors, and they also provide drivers 1 day a week, every week. We appreciate that. We also had a little over $4,000 in interest income. Now, if you add all that up, our expenditures over revenues came to $86,600. That necessitated a drawdown of $86,602 from our bank accounts, our reserves. Those safety net reserves that we've talked about allowed Meals on Wheels to continue uninterrupted, uncompromised, undiminished service to about 230 clients a week. We're serving 5 meals a week, about 230 clients on average. If you look at the demand trend, it is up from 2023. Altogether, Meals on Wheels served 325 different clients in fiscal year 23-24, the most ever. So our situation is this: food costs continue to increase. If you bought groceries in the last couple of years, that's no news to you. But while food costs are increasing, the demand for services is increasing. So we are trying to operate in the most efficient possible way, and I think that's important for you as our city leaders and for our community to know. Our cost per meal, produced and delivered, is $5.36. And if you've looked at these meals, they're pretty good. They're nutritious, balanced meals. And I've got to say that the low cost for producing and delivering the meals would not be possible without the volunteer drivers. These drivers give their time, pay their vehicle expenses, their fuel, their insurance, their upkeep, buy the tires for their vehicles. They do this out of a sense of commitment to the community. So let's just emphasize that. The volunteer drivers make the difference. We couldn't do it for $5.36 per meal without them. Now, for the news of the evening, looking at our financial condition, we have had some community activists to step up and say they want to organize a major fundraiser. That fundraiser will launch October 15 of this year, 5:30 p.m. at the Bridgestone Warren plant. Thanks to Bridgestone for hosting this. Also, our special thanks to Vanessa Miller and Shannon Gulick as the principal organizers for this event. Barbecue music and recognition of Meals on Wheels special friends will be highlighted on that evening. So we are trying to launch this fundraiser and appealing to the community for support. We'll have more on that later. So that's sort of a brief overview of where we are, but the bottom line is thank you for what you've done in the past. And if you want to come back in the future, you'll always be welcome. So thank you. Any questions?
Mr. Zeckman, what was the date on that? I'm sorry, I was taking notes and I missed the date.
The date is October 15th.
Okay, thank you very much.
Has to be my birthday. But that had no impact on the 5:30 at Bridgestone. And we have so many people in the community that want to step up and support Meals on Wheels. I'm grateful for those. So let's all be in an attitude of gratitude. So thanks to you all.
Thank you, Bill.
Thanks very much.
Next item on the agenda is recognition of employees. We have several department head come on up. Hearing none, we'll move on to item 5, communications. Item 5A is a request from the Black History Museum of Warren County to use the decorative light poles on Main Street for banners honoring Black Warren Countyans.
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to come before you again today. Feel a little awkward following Mrs. Zachman here. I was going to say thank you for our allocation for this year. That funding definitely helps the museum be the best it can be. And it also tells us that you support our mission, which means just as much to us as the funding. So thank you for that. Concerning the agenda item, one of the governing principles of the Black History Museum is community engagement. One community engagement project that we have been discussing is placing banners on the decorative light posts that line Main Street. These banners will have images and text of prominent African Americans with ties to Warren County. The initial plan would be to place these banners during the month of February, you know it's Black History Month. But before we move any forward, we would have to have your approval. And that's why we're here this evening to ask for your support and approval of displaying these banners during Black History Month. This would allow us to go forward and seek grant funding to hopefully make this project a reality. If you have any questions, I'd be glad to try to answer those.
This is something that we've done for other organizations and causes, and I have no issue with that. I would entertain a motion to approve this request.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, we'll coordinate and get everything closer to time for you all to do that and go from there. But let us know if you need anything else.
All right, thank you.
Absolutely. Item 6 is petitions. There are none. Item 7 is unfinished business. Does any member of the board have any unfinished business to present this evening? Hearing none, item 8 is new business. Item 8A is consider the dissolution of the Tourism Development Board and the creation of a new tourism and marketing department within the city's municipal code. This is something that Mr. Ming and I have been discussing for some time, and we have consulted the state, TEDD, TDTD, MTAS, and just looking at things, we kind of feel that the Tourism Development Board and Authority could be much more than it is at this point. And I would consider it more of a restructuring rather than dissolution. One thing we've made very clear to the county, who are now our partners in this, we are not abandoning tourism initiatives. We're in no way meaning to exclude the county in any way. It would basically be creating a committee under city, just like finance, safety, water and sewer, etc., and then possibly forming a tourism advisory board, not unlike what we do with the park theater. So we would have a dozen or so people, city representation, county representation, and then just as an example, a restaurateur, a small business owner, hotel, motel owner, have input from Main Street, McMinnville, the Chamber of Commerce, the Industrial Development Board, and really have a more inclusive group that benefits all of McMinnville and Warren County rather than what we have now. So at this point in time, it's more or less just kind of a concept with some conceptual information that we've been given by the state and TDTD. But I just wanted to bring this to you all because ultimately it is this board's decision what to do with the Tourism Development Authority. The hotel motel tax money, its usage does not change. We either have to use it on tourism initiatives or we have to give it back. So that money could be used, as we understand it, to pay the salary and benefits of a full-time tourism administrator. And then that money would be at their disposal, obviously with city oversight, to fund tourism initiatives throughout the county. This includes but is not limited to things with our waterways, our parks, our walkways, signage, events, upgrades to things even out in the county, in Morrison, in Viola, and places like Midway, where people from out of town go for various things. So I guess what Nolan and I are looking for at this point is just support from the board to move forward with this. Obviously, Human Resources would have to be involved in creating a job description. We would have to form a new committee and a new department. We would have to come up with the actual members, criteria for that tourism advisement board, stipulations, different criteria, term limits, things of that nature. So I just wanted, again, to inform the board that this is something that we've been researching for a little while and gather input before we either make a decision to move forward or just leave things the way they are.
Mr. Mayor, may I make a comment?
Absolutely.
I think that's a great idea, and I've mentioned this before. And to your point about how, we have a board, a TDB board now, and maybe nothing gets done. And I'm not saying this, that nothing gets done where I'm getting ready to go. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking maybe we might get more bang for the buck. But I believe that the Park Theater is a tourism draw. I think that the Park Theater, if it could be used more than it's being used right now, and that maybe that Park Theater could be part of the TDB. And I don't know the mechanics of the situation. I don't know how that works. But it seems like we have this very unique entity over there that has its own. It has its own budget, separate from Parks and Rec, and has its own advisory board, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right? And of course, and we've got Joe, the manager over there, who does a great job. We've got all that. I would like to consider that part of the tourism development, or at least I would like for us to at least considering it part of that. Sure. Because that's a very unique asset that we've got right here that with maybe some better funding could get some larger acts in here, and that we could get more bang for the buck out of there if Mr. Harvey had some more assets at his disposal, because it is kind of limited. What we can do right now as a city is limited based upon our budgets. I would just like to put that out there as part of the thought process.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I guess that would be part of the development with Human Resources, is how that would play out. But, it would be, the hotel motels would go into that and only in and out of that one account, so it wouldn't commingle.
Yeah, the logistics, there's a
Yeah.
lot of moving parts with
Oh, absolutely.
administration, with finance, with HR, our partnership with the county, all of that. So there is a lot to work out. This idea is still very much in its infancy. There are a lot of possibilities. Really, the TDB right now has almost $500,000 in its bank accounts, strictly from that hotel motel tax money. And I just think there's a lot more that could be done with it all throughout McMinnville and Warren County. So that's kind of where we are. So
You need something from us?
at this point right now, it would just kind of for us to officially go to the drawing board to bring something back, a job description, compensation package for this position that we hope to create. Again, I guess the composition of that tourism advisory board and things of that nature. So
Do we have a model? Do we have a model somewhere from another city that's done something like this?
we have some concepts that have been sent to us by a representative from TDTD and the Tennessee Department of Tourism Development. And I think it's 2 or 3 different concepts of people to be on that advisory committee and stuff like that. So
You'll see this package is in your packet. The proposed advisory committee makeup is in here. And that's based on the TDT's recommendations. So, of course, we can amend that as needed, but that's the first crack at it. And I could bring something back to the next meeting that we can act on.
Okay. But our next step is gonna be reaching out to our, county partners. I mean, I intend fully to sit down, Nolan and myself, with the county executive and let them know that, again, we're not ending these initiatives. We're not in any way attempting to exclude the county. With the recent law changes, with all of this, hotel motel tax money and the funding and its uses, it's not confined to the city limits like it was when this was first brought about. So, again, it's something that would be able to benefit the entire county and not just the city. So, at this point, I don't think we need to take any action. Again, this was just kind of an informational discussion, but Nolan and I will then begin working on this officially and bring back something for the board to consider and go from there. So, any other questions or comments?
I think you could very well get more out of it with it being someone's actual job that they
Yeah.
do
Mhm.
versus just
A
a
paid.
board
Mhm.
meeting together, because it's difficult when it's an hour meeting
Yeah.
every month
Yeah,
versus
and
someone's
that
job.
in and of itself is another issue, is because it is a subsidiary of city government. There's still a lot of red tape in how funds are spent, and it's another wrinkle has been thrown in with county involvement, because they have to take things to their committees all the way to the full county court meetings and then back to us. Just like the city would have to approve things through certain committees to the full board and back. There's a lot of time and, like I said, red tape. And our current administrator, David Owens, has done a great job. But again, to your point, it's not her full-time job. She teaches and works in administration at Motlow and does all of this on the side and doesn't always have the time to devote. So yes, to your point, having somebody who worked on this full-time and didn't do anything but, tourism and marketing initiatives for McMinnville and Warren County, I think would benefit us a lot. So,
I think it's an exciting proposal.
all right, well, we will begin work on that and bring something back. Item 9 is resolutions. Item 9A is resolution number 2024-24 of the city of McMinnville to purchase an F-550 truck from Murfreesboro Ford for a total of $67,869 for the McMinnville Fire Department using SWC 209, a statewide contract, and to authorize the city administrator to issue the purchase order on behalf of the city and express the time.
They got $250 off. You didn't get the rest.
Okay, there is a revised copy of this that states, for the record, the amount is $67,619 and not $67,869. But will authorize the city administrator to issue necessary purchase order on behalf of the city and express the time when this resolution becomes effective. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Stacy Harvey,
Second.
second by Ms. Rachel Kirby. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, we'll call for the vote.
Sally Brock,
Yes.
Deidre Dunlap,
Aye.
Stacy Harvey,
Aye.
Steve Harvey.
Yes.
Rachel Kirby,
Yes.
Carrie Morton.
Yes.
Mayor Chastain.
Aye, motion passes. Item 9B is resolution number 2024-25 of the city of McMinnville to accept the source well bid from Waste Quip for $22,664 for McMinnville Streets and Sanitation Department for 10 6-yard dumpsters and 10 8-yard dumpsters, and to authorize the city administrator to issue necessary purchase order on behalf of the city and to express the time when the resolution becomes effective. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Sally Brock,
Second.
second by Ms. Carrie Morton. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, we'll call for the vote.
Sally Brock.
Yes.
Deidre Dunlap,
Aye.
Stacy Harvey,
Aye.
Steve Harvey,
Yes.
Rachel Kirby,
Yes.
Carrie Morton.
Yes.
Mayor Chastain.
Aye, motion passes. Item 9C is resolution number 2024-26 of the city of McMinnville to accept the proposal for design services related to the lot on the southeast corner of Court Square by CT Consultants for $28,500 and set the date for the resolution to become effective. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Steve Harvey,
Second.
second by Ms. Deidre Dunlap. Any questions or comments?
Well, I do have one. And pardon me if I'm wrong, but when we brought this up, we were talking about splitting this with, was it the TDB or Main Street McMinnville?
Tourism Development Board.
TDB. So- And we've decided we're in control of that, so we can make it happen one way or the other. Was that the consensus? That we didn't have to have a separate agreement with TDB, that we could make it happen?
My thinking was that if we're going to take over the TDB, this was kind of a moot point. But
Okay.
I think there's another question, which is, can we just force them to cut a check? That's a question for Samantha.
That answer doesn't, I don't have the answer to that question. I think it's more of a approach of asking if they would participate, and that would be a more cut and dry.
Yeah.
You can absolutely ask them to do that. Their budget has already been adopted for the year, and to my knowledge, it is not in their budget. And I think they just recently adopted that at their last meeting. But to Mr. Ming's point, if that board is brought inside the city of McMinnville, that is something that we could use that funding for in that.
Are we under
area.
any kind of time constraints on this?
I don't think so.
I would recommend just deferring this to a later date until we figure out definitively what we're gonna do with the Tourism Development Board.
I wouldn't disagree with that at all, because it is, I mean, that's gonna be a big project right there, and, you know, no sense starting it off on the wrong foot by getting wires crossed right up front.
Yeah. All right, there will be no action on resolutions, or item 9C. The next item on the agenda is ordinances. Item 10A is ordinance number 2024-09 of the city of McMinnville to change the zoning classification of a property located on Rosewood Lane from R1 low density to R6 smart growth, and to express the time for this ordinance to become effective. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Stacy Harvey,
Second.
second by Ms. Carrie Morton. Sean, you wanna come up and provide some background information on this?
Yeah, so with this lot, it's zoned R1, so a little over 20,000 square feet, about 20,100. With the switch to R6, that would allow a two-lot subdivision, and put two lots into that. Two separate lots, two individual residential units there instead of the one. So we'll maximize that little potential, but still maintain the integrity and overall look of the district in the neighborhood. So the difference is 10,000 square feet, 15,000 square feet. Setbacks are a little bit different, but the side yard will be 15 feet, fronts will be much the same, so it'll fit in well with the area. It shouldn't be detrimental to anything.
How big would the houses be? What's the square footage?
They're probably gonna be around the 1,200 to 1,300 square foot range, give or take.
And that's,
Is that about right, Gene?
that's right about what's in that
Yeah, that's-
area right now anyway.
All right, any other questions or comments?
So how big's the total lot now?
Right at 20,100 square feet.
And you need,
R6 is 10,000.
and R1 is 15.
Yeah. And the average distance side to side through there on that would be, they're about 30 feet apart currently for all the existing housing, and this would be very similar to that.
And given this is on our agenda, I assume that the planning commission,
Planning Commission made recommendation for approval.
okay.
And we have done this on others. Memory serve,
1200 Red Road.
that's what I thought, because that's where I got fired.
Yes.
I got fired on that job for that one, so I remember that one, that's right. That's, I'm not involved in this one, I got fired from that one, okay. Yeah,
Yeah, so
Okay.
it's very similar to that.
okay.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, we'll call for the vote.
Sally Brock?
Yes.
Deidre Dunlap?
Aye.
Stacy Harvey?
Aye.
Steve Harvey?
Yes.
Rachel Kirby?
Yes.
Carrie Morton?
Yes.
Mayor Chastain?
Aye, motion passes. Item 11 is departmental reports. We have several department heads here this evening. If anyone wishes to address the board, come on up. Mr. Main, do you have anything this evening? I do not. Mr. Pearl? All right, if there's nothing else to come before the board, we'll stand adjourned. Thank you.